Good morning. It's camping season. We are camping around the fire in Chris's front yard.
Front yard. This is the driveway. This is where all the magic happens.
This is the place. And so got my
Sometimes
tent
a year,
over there.
Sometimes a year, this is the sledding hill. Sometimes this is the fireside.
This is the place to be.
Yeah.
Actually, we tried to make it represent a place you didn't want to be. But
I could turn this up, But I might not have leg hair after we're done this.
Yeah. Well, we are here because on Sunday we talked about a fiery furnace.
I'm not going to survive that.
And you just heated it up 7 times hotter, right?
Good thing I shaved.
Yeah. So looking back, our passage we looked at was Daniel chapter 3. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into a fiery furnace, probably much bigger and hotter than this.
Probably? I think we can take probably off the table. Bigger, hotter.
We thought about filming in the boiler room in the church, but there's no fire visible, so we thought this was a little bit better. Anyways, so use your imaginations. We are 3 guys in a we were just trying to visualize a little bit. But a fascinating passage, as all of the passages we've looked at so far in Daniel have been, and I think will continue to be. But the scene shifts from Daniel to his 3 friends in the province of Babylon, and King Nebuchadnezzar sets up this idol, this image of gold, 90 feet high. That's super tall. You said for children's ministry one time you filmed beside a 8-story building to try to show the height.
That's right. Yeah.
What building was that? Do you remember?
It was the Best Western in Lecky and what's the cross street on the highway?
Yeah.
Oh. Out by Costco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's roughly, I looked at the time, Kelowna buildings that kind of stand apart, right?
Yeah.
You can get a bit of sense of. But the thing that kind of grips me most, that's fine for the height, but it's the narrowness of the tower too, right?
Yes, 9 feet.
That really what we need is more like a Washington Monument type thing.
Yep.
To really kind of get a better scale of it, not this wide hotel, but that it's a tall thing.
9 feet by 90 feet. Yeah. It's really tall. Not very
you're
wide.
looking more like a tree than a than a building.
Like I don't get how that didn't fall over.
Yeah.
And also like what's going through the guy's mind when and maybe this wasn't totally sequential as in the tight time frame that Daniel makes it seem like, but he has a dream about a tower toppling, and then he goes and builds a tower.
Yes.
And it's like,
I know. Well,
what do you? Really? And a skinny one too that could easily topple.
And that's what I kind of just briefly mentioned on Sunday. But was he trying to fix what he thought was broken?
Yeah.
Right. In his dream, the tower toppled. His kingdom.
Yeah.
Toppled.
Yes.
Right, because they had an infirm foundation. So why not fix that foundation? Did he miss everything that Daniel was trying to say?
Yeah.
Which is I thought that was very intriguing. But he sets this up. He has people bow. He's trying to unite his kingdom. All these different nations are bowing before this. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I don't think they were trying to make a statement with their stand.
Right.
It's not them that Nebuchadnezzar sees. It's jealous leaders that bring him to his attention. These guys that you put over us.
Right.
A lot of times, it's brought out that these guys took their stand, and I don't think they were trying to make a stand. They were standing in their heart for what they believed in. They were trying to serve this king, but not worship. Not break their covenant loyalty.
More of like a personal conviction rather than a political statement.
Yes, exactly. I think that's really important to remember here, that it's not, it's not you have to make your stand and make sure people know where you stand. It's more like know where you stand and stand there. And it will come out when it's right, and you will have a witness when it's right, but you don't need to force your witness,
Which is also probably why, because they were so personally convicted of it, they were willing to go through whatever. Whereas if it was a political ideology,
Yeah.
or even a nationalistic thing of,
Yep.
well, we're Israelites, so we're going to, right?
Yeah.
They probably would have maybe
Mm-hmm.
caved a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely kind of, I think those who ratted them out, right?
Mhm.
Kind of, I'm sure, viewed it as hey, these guys aren't one of us.
Mhm.
And yet they're over us.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Jealousy.
Yeah, all of that. And
Even reveals a little bit of, King Nebuchadnezzar is trying to unite everybody, and he's got his own guys, not
Yeah.
being there. Yeah. Yeah, and then their statement, that God will save us, but even if He does not,
Yeah.
like we always, pretty much everybody that looks at this, studies this, notices that. It's so wonderful. Like we are convinced, and to get to that point is you're right. It has to be not a political thing, not a advantage to me thing. It's I am so secure in this God that I trust and love, that even if He doesn't save me. We were talking about how in the Bible there's a lot of times where God does save people, like He saved Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and yet God calls us to struggle even if we are not saved.
well, I think sometimes we lose sight of the fact that saving can come in different forms.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's possible that if they perish in that fire, that is a form of being saved
Yeah.
from Nebuchadnezzar.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's not a lot of like, God didn't show up the way we expect, and now what?
Mhm.
Like, how do we
Mm-hmm.
really wrestle with that, cope with that, when all of our eggs are in that
Mhm.
basket of God is going to show up in this particular way,
Yeah.
and when He doesn't, then what?
Yeah.
Like, what do we do when we realize we had actually in that moment made God out to, like, we expected or forced Him even to act a certain way, and if He doesn't bend to that,
Mm-hmm.
how do we rebuild after that? Like, what do we do
Yeah.
next? And
Well, and I think that's revealing what we truly believe about Him, that He's for me, He is for us, but He's
Yeah.
for what I want Him to be rather than for what He is, right? And our deliverance comes not from forcing Him to bend to what we think He should do, but for us submitting to what He thinks. And it's such a subtle in some ways, like it's really hard for us to wrestle that through, and I think even though we get it here, it takes a long time for it to seep down. Like, yes, I trust this God because He
absolutely
knows best, and I mean we keep coming back to that again and again and again because it is so hard. But yeah.
Well, and hard too then, like, it's one thing just for us as adults who have a long history of walking with God to wrestle with.
Yeah.
And then when we layer in the fact that we have kids who also, right?
Yep.
We so often, all of our stories of God are these hero epics where God shows up and God delivers and God acts.
Yeah.
And then it's like, we don't often sort of share the stories of this bad thing happened. Like, I think of Jonah. What if the whale didn't spit him out?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
what if, what if with these guys, they did die in the heart? Then what?
Mhm.
Like, we don't really have these big God stories
Yeah.
where He was still sovereign and yet the person
Yeah.
perished. And
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
we always forget kind of the tail end of it. Like,
Mhm.
you think of Jonah. Okay, Jonah had this moment,
yeah,
and then what happened after that?
yeah,
We kind of just, we trail off after that.
right.
Same with Noah. He had this big, fantastic, wonderful thing,
Yeah.
and we kind of just silence that ending where he
Gets drunk. Yeah.
he gets drunk and,
Yeah.
and just kind of
His
does
story ends
some
in
weird,
sin.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's so many of those, but this
Yeah.
is actually
Yeah.
one of those ones where it goes actually right to the end. Even
Mhm.
spoiler alert for Daniel in the Lion's Den.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really weird ending that we don't include in the children's story.
Yeah, that's very true.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thought because we want to, like you said, we want to be able to point to this hero and said he trusted God, and look all these things that happened. And like you said, this person trusted God, and God did not save them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's
Yeah.
a lot of different moments I think in Scripture that we don't always think about. There's Jesus is questioned about the tower that fell on those people,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
where were you in all that, right? And yet I know that the moment we step into heaven, no, it won't be the first priority maybe on our minds, but at some point I think it would be fantastic to be able to hear how God is going to say, I was faithful in these moments that you never saw, and I used it for my glory.
Yep.
Right? I think it does help us with a larger perspective on pain and suffering and and why life is not easy.
Well, and even in this story, it's if you step back and imagine being the three guys. Here we are, three guys, right?
Yeah.
Like we would pray that God would save us from the fire. The whole time they're shackling us, walking us there, heating up the fire, guys dying to our right and our left, and we're like, oh, are we free? No, we're not. We're still falling in this fire, right? Like we're not being saved from the fire. When you imagine that, like they were probably like, oh my goodness, we are not going, but it was through and in, this was his presence. I think even in this story, there's some of the wrestle here too. Like that you're not going to be saved from as you expect, it's saved through it.
And one of the things I really do appreciate about the story is how thoroughly they are saved through it, though. And we often, we sometimes gloss over it, but that line that when they came out, they didn't even smell of smoke.
Yeah.
Like if we've driven by one of the fire sites lately, a week after a fire, and it still smells of ash and smoke. Sometimes even longer than that if it was a bigger fire, right? And yet these guys came out of that and didn't even smell of it.
Exactly.
I mean, spend one evening around the campfire.
Well, I was going to say, like my kids coming home from youth camping trip.
Yeah.
And it's 3-4 days.
Well, not this year because there was no fire. And I mean, we could look at that one way, like the fire was so hot that there was no smoke, right? Is one possibility. It was so hot that nothing even produced smoke, or and I guess additionally, like God so thoroughly saved them. That there was just not a bit of ash on their clothing. Not the hintest little hair singed.
Exactly.
Which has a very pungent odor.
Well, I've kind of pondered that before. Like, when there have been martyrs who have burned at the stake and who have just gone through horrendous things.
Yeah.
God, what was his presence with them? Does he ever lessen the pain? Like, he can do anything. Maybe he walks through it and their pain is reduced because of his presence. We just don't know. Those are some of the, like you said, I'm
okay not to find out. Just
but death, oh death, where is your sting? Like Jesus took the sting out of death with his going through it in our behalf and then offering his life, and we no longer will be ever separated. Like, how much more of his presence do we have to experience that we can continue to grow in, so that these things that we fear are no longer fearful because we are just so enthralled by his presence. I just think there's so much more to God to be had, and these stories kind of help us realize, I want that. We want that. Like how do we grow in that? Which kind of leads to our future pointing as we move into what's next. Exploring Kingdom of Heaven living. Like that's really the goal, is how do we experience more and more of God. That's what we're trying to explore in this class is how do we become Kingdom of Heaven people like that? What's our part? What's God's part? How do we join him?
And so what I'm hearing in that is it's not just changing some outside stuff, but actually working on the heart. And changing it. Because I think we've all been, well, if word X is bad, I just won't say that, and I'll have these other substitutes. Right? That kind of, That's I think classic Pharisaism, right? Okay, I won't say that. I'll say this.
Exactly.
And we miss the whole fact that no, it's actually the heart behind that expression that needs to end.
We talk about spiritual disciplines, but spiritual disciplines has been entered into in the wrong frame of mind before, where they just become another Pharisaical act. So how do we?
That's right. If you're
how
a
do
good
we-
Jesus follower, you read 10 minutes
Yep,
a day, you
yep.
pray for
Yep.
20,
You
you
fast,
fast
you know,
once
you
a
do
week, and
solitude,
and it's
all
like,
this-
well,
So yeah, the spiritual disciplines, we will be talking about them and practicing some of them, but we got to start with the vision and the understanding of what they're actually about, and then how do we enter them in that mindset and exit them if they're not, if we realize we're not, if we are being Pharisaical,
Yeah.
how and when and all that. So those are kind of the things we'll be exploring in that class. So if you haven't signed up, sign up at the QR code on the screen here. We have something else coming up on Sunday. You wanted to...
yeah, for all levels of children's ministry, nursery, preschool, and our regular class, we'd love for you to just stay after the service for lunch. We want to get back in the habit of more of an annual kind of training check-in, but this is also going to kind of walk everybody through the process of expanding our programming. So, and we want to do it all as a team together instead of just kind of launching a side thing. This is a unified vision for, spiritual formation of children. And so we want to get all on the same page. And so we'd love for you to stay for lunch. And we'll try not to keep it too long. But there's a few important things to go through. And more than anything, share a meal together. And like we said, just all be on the same page and same team about it.
It really is an exciting time to be in children's ministry. We have all these...
It's never not been an exciting time,
Well,
but yes,
yeah.
especially now.
Sorry, I didn't
It's
mean it
really
as
fun.
opposed to, but-
Hey,
but it
this
is an
last
exciting
Sunday
time.
when we had like child dedications is a prime example
Yep.
of that, right?
Yeah.
Every
What I
single
meant
week, and
was,
it's
it was
really
just
fun.
kind of fun to see all these
Yes.
little kids up front on Sunday. you know?
Absolutely. I have so much fun. Just, it's like the old, kids say the darndest things. I love inviting them to speak
Oh, yeah.
and then just marveling at what comes out.
I think something came out on Sunday when I was praying.
I think
too,
a couple things came out on Sunday while you were praying.
You could see Caleb just laughing if you want to go back and watch that.
He wasn't the only one.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
too. Yeah. I didn't hear it.
I think I started to laugh fast. I was trying so hard to keep it together,
Yeah.
and then when I noticed Caleb
I'm
next to
just
me
so
was just
glad-
shaking.
So
I'm like,
glad I
"God
didn't
yeah.
even hear anything. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good time.
For those of you that did keep your eyes closed, you should go back and watch YouTube
You know how-
and still pray along.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely,
along, but-
absolutely. It's a great prayer. I can't remember a word of it. You know how like sometimes like TSN or whatever they'll like do a mic'd up segment with the
Yeah.
athletes. I feel like, man, we should do that with kids.
I will say there was a microphone right in front of Lydia.
Yeah.
So
Did it
we-
pick up what she said?
You
I need
pick
I
it
need to
up.
go back
Oh,
and have a
that's
look.
great.
I'll go back
yeah.
and have a
Oh,
look.
that's great.
But you know,
Yeah.
Isolated.
if you don't know who some of these people are
Mhm.
that we are referencing, and maybe you weren't there on this last Sunday, but you don't know who the Renfros or the Kesslers are, there's an opportunity for you to know, and so we are calling for people to just confirm their information as we create our next year's church directory. And the reason for this directory is to be able to connect with others. And so the opportunity is there to be able to share your name, your family, your picture, so that people can know who you are and you can know who they are. It's an opportunity to just grow together and to fellowship and to just care for one another. I know a lot of people who use that directory as actually an opportunity to pray
Yep.
for those in that directory. And so I would encourage you to consider that. You are allowed to say, I would like this information shared and not that information, and we will respect that in the office, and so that we can just be together and we can connect with each other and make opportunities to grow as a family of God. And so I encourage you to submit your information.
Are you? And the link is here on the screen.
Yep.
The last thing is along the same lines. The life groups are starting this week and next week, and if you haven't let me or Kevin know that you want to be a part of one, this is a great time. It's really the perfect time because life groups have been not meeting very regularly over the summer, so it would be startup time right now. So please let me or Kevin know if you want to be a part of a group then you haven't been, or if you're looking for a change in the life group, let me know that as well. We're getting those started, and they're just, anybody who's been in a life group will say that this is just really one of the ways that you really grow together. Live life together, share life together is one of our values. So yeah, I think that's enough for you to be pondering and thinking about. Until Sunday, hope you have a great week.